What made you realize your relationship couldn't be saved? I come from a very small conservative town, so when I went to college in a big city about 2 hours from home, it was a massive culture shock. I was used to really traditional gender norms and values, so meeting people from different backgrounds and feelings about stuff like gender, race, and sexuality was really overwhelming. I was so relieved when I met Colton at a dorm mixer. He came from a town close to mine and had been raised with a similar mindset. He was a good old country boy who believed women should stay home with kids and men would take care of them. I was a little nervous at first about what he would think of me as a woman in college, but he said he thought women being educated was great, and that education for education's sake, not because you have big career aspirations, is really admirable. So after that, I was all in. We started dating right away, and I was daydreaming about being his wife practically since day one. As we stayed in college and got exposed to more ideas, both of us started to loosen up a bit. At first, we swore we were going to stay virgins until we were married, but, that didn't last. As I entered into my junior year, my scholarship money really wasn't covering as much of the cost of living as I'd hoped, so I asked Colton if he'd consider living together to save money. He was very hesitant and was very worried about what people would think about us living in sin. He said he wouldn't be able to tell his parents, and he expressed concern that being in college and the big city was getting to me. But he agreed in the end that it made financial sense, so we started living together. I loved waking up next to him every morning and basically practicing being married, but he still grouched a lot that what we were doing shouldn't be done. He started going to church a lot more, I guess to try to cancel out the sin of living with me. Meanwhile, I was pulling away more from the church scene just because I was busy, and because I felt like some of the sermons weren't as relevant to me as they once were. I was meeting more liberal people and starting to consider new ideas about stuff like gay people and women's rights, though obviously I couldn't say anything about that to Colton. The second semester of my junior year, I decided to take a women's studies class. Colton was fine with it at first, I think, because he didn't really understand what women's studies was. But once he saw my syllabus and the topics we were going to be discussing, all hell broke loose. He told me no way would he allow me to take that class, and that he wasn't going to have a bunch of man-hating lesbians filling my head with ideas about what men and women should be doing. I told him that I was perfectly able to listen to different people's points of view without being brainwashed, but he was adamant that me going to this class was unsafe, and begged me to drop it. I didn't. Colton continued to complain about the class, but I just ignored him. A month into term, I had a girl from my class over to our apartment to work on a group project. We were doing a presentation on women during the AIDS crisis. Colton was home and heard us planning the project, but he left pretty quickly to meet his friends. When he got home late that night, he was drunk and mad. He told me he couldn't believe I was going to stand up in front of a class and talk about gross things like AIDS and gays, and that he knew this class was going to change me. He slept on the couch that night, which was fine by me, until I got up to get ready for class and couldn't find any of my books. Colton was just sitting at the counter, nonchalantly drinking coffee. I said, "Colton, where are all my textbooks?" He said, "I don't think college is the right fit for you." While I was asleep, he'd thrown out hundreds of dollars of textbooks so that I couldn't go to class anymore. I couldn't believe he would do that, especially since he knew I was struggling to afford school as it was. I stood there gaping while he smugly got ready and left for his classes. As soon as he was gone, I went back to our room and started stuffing his clothes into garbage bags. At first, I was just planning to dump it on the lawn to show him that he was absolutely no longer welcome here, and then I came up with a better idea. If he was going to get rid of my stuff, I was going to get rid of his. I took every item of clothing that he owned and drove them over to Goodwill. Then I got home, called a locksmith, and had the locks changed by the time he got home. He banged on our door for ages, but I called the campus cops and had him removed. I don't know what I'm going to do about school, but the girls in my women's studies classes have given me tons of resources for getting out of controlling relationships, so I think I'll be okay, and I will never let a man tell me what to do.